home. And the Elysee Hotel is at 46 to 60 East 54th Street. It was founded in 1926 by Max Herring and rescued from bankruptcy in 1936 by a Turkish businessman who purchased it for $473,000. The businessman named Mayor Quain had a penchant for nightclubs and created a charming little locale in the lobby. He presided over the hotel and his death in 1944, interestingly, the same year as architect of the Gargoyle Interiors, Edwin Lutyens, died. So these sort of are all, transpiring. These places are contemporary and were very popular at the same time, just across the sea. At the time of purchase, 3 years after Prohibition ended, the decor consisted of an upright piano on a tiny stage, 4 stools at a bar, and banquettes with mirrors sporting tiny monkey decals on them. The idea was that when people drink, they make monkeys of themselves.
Very true.
The monkeys, martinis, and piano acts, complete with wonderful double entendres, were enough to attract famous talent of the day, including Tennessee Williams and the Gish sisters. Tallulah was well known at the bar and in the halls of the hotel, which is not surprising considering how long she lived there. I can't imagine living in a hotel for a year, let alone 7 or 8 years.
Well, she was nice. Think about it. You don't have to cook.
Yeah, you can get room service wherever you go downstairs, go to the bar, there's entertainment, you're, sort of where you need to be in the city. So Tallulah was famous for instructing the bartender to tell the owner of the hotel that her drinks were on the house. I really like this attitude. She had a pet mynah bird who spoke the phrase, "Hello, darling," with striking similarity to its owner. And lastly, Tallulah had both a lion cub named Winston Churchill and appropriately a monkey, who we don't know the name, who lived in the hotel with her at certain points in her tenure at the Elysee. Other stars who took advantage of the Elysee's hospitality included Marlon Brando, Frank Sinatra, and Joe DiMaggio. It sounded like quite a place to be in the day, and fortunately for lovers of New York's social history, still is. Today's Hotel Elysee still features the monkey bar that Quain established, but it underwent some changes, including some hard times, throughout the 20th century. In the 1950s, the round mirrors with monkey decals came down, and caricaturist Charlie Walla painted murals on the walls around the banquettes. These were commissioned by Quain's son Leon, who oversaw the hotel after his father's death in 1944. The Elysee name didn't carry the panache that it once did, and the hotel went into decline. Its name graced the papers again in 1983 for a tragic reason. It was there that author Tennessee Williams choked on a bottle cap and died. In 1992, the monkey bar was closed and new management stepped in. A December 1944 New York Times article indicates the place had opened back up that fall and had already become a popular watering hole once again. Some monkey decor survived, but apparently the leopard print carpet and monkey chandeliers did not make the cut. I'd love to know where those ended up. The most recent sale in 2009 to Canadian journalist and former editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair, Graydon Carter, saw the dining room murals retouched and added to by artist Ed Sorrell. The monkey bar has definitely evolved from his quaint post-Prohibition appearance, but maintained its charm and style and simian leanings with wooden and brass monkey figurines perched around the interior. So if you're in New York and feel like dropping a mint on a cocktail, popular creations at the monkey bar include the monkey gland. I'm not sure I would drink something with the word gland in it, but it does sound good. It has gin, pomegranate molasses, OJ, absinthe, and orange bitters. And the Savoy Graydon with vodka, sweet vermouth, green chartreuse, lemon juice, agave, and soda. I like anything typically with chartreuse in it. The monkey gland sounds good, but again, gland.
I'm thirsty now.
So, yeah, right? So that's the National Trust had that. National Trust for Historic Preservation talked a little bit about the restoration of the interior.
Wow.
Yeah. So the monkey bar accommodated a very elite clientele after the post-restoration reopening in 2009, just because, the Vanity Fair guys up there in importance and friends and connections. But since then, there was a refreshing in 2011, it says, which created a more democratic process and probably, or it sounds like it's not quite as elite. So the Monkey Bar made me think about another bar that I have been to. Well, I haven't been to the Monkey Bar. I've been to a bar that reminded me of this, which is also an animal theme. All this one's avian and not simian. There's a bar in Baltimore called the Owl Bar. And there's just something so like timeless and fun about walking into a building. And it's Hotel Belvedere. I think it's condos or something now, but the Owl Bar is still intact. And, we typically, this is sort of went off the reservation on this discussion because instead of discussing architectural styles, I really wanted to get into the thought about interiors and how much they turn over much more frequently because of ownership and because, the exterior of a building is, while it's not completely static, it's certainly not as malleable as an interior.
Not as easy to change.
Right. And so Tallulah's story really allowed me to venture into that territory. And it's definitely just as important stylistically and certainly socially, if not more so, as far as the social part goes. So the story of the Hotel Elysee, and specifically the Monkey Bar, represents the theme of shifting fortunes, demand of the, can we say, space users of an urban clientele, so New Yorkers, and simply taste. So the Monkey Bar, has existed for 83 years. And whether to you that means only 83 years or wow, 83 is really old for a bar is personal preference. But design-wise, consider where we've been between 1936 and 2019. And for all of the styles in that time period that could have transformed the space, it's still dominated by the palette and the aesthetic of the late Art Deco to mid-century modern, and also dominated by monkeys. So I want to give credit to sources. The New York Times had some articles, great articles, old ones, about the Hotel Elysee and Monkey Bar in the 80s and 90s. And The Gothamist had some great, useful, factual information about the hotel and the bar as well. So I could have gone down even farther into the buildings that Tallulah lived in or frequented, but worth noting are her place of death, which is 230 East 62nd Street in Brooklyn, and Hotel Gotham. It's now the Peninsula Hotel on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Definitely a step up from the Elysee. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Elysee, but the Hotel Gotham was built in 1905 by, what was that firm? But it's a beautiful Beaux-Arts building.
So Tallulah landed in Hollywood and tried to make a go of it in the movies. She lived at 1712 North Stanley Avenue in the Hollywood Hills, it's still there today. And Google Street View.
It's a duplex, right?
Yeah, it's a duplex, and it's kind of Regency style, like Hollywood Regency style early to me, but it's covered mostly by this huge pruned bush. Or
yeah.
So it's a bush wall.
Shrubbery,
yes. She rented the duplex from Billy Haynes, who was a very well-known actor turned interior designer. He was well known because he refused to stay in the closet, which did not jive with the Hollywood system.
Oh my.
So
not at that time. No.
Yeah. He ended his acting career in 1935 and moved on to design interiors for Joan Crawford, Carole Lombard, famous director George Cukor, and our good friend Marion Davies, also the longtime lover of William Randolph.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe we need to play 6 Degrees of Talullah Bankhead.
Yeah, that sounds like a good game.
Yeah. You've actually talked about doing this because we run across
they're all connected.
Linkages.
Oh yeah, because I found Mountbatten. There was a Mountbatten reference in here somewhere.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
He probably slept with her.
He was in London. Somebody was in London. Maybe hung out at, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw that name and I was like, oh, I know who that is.
So, yeah, Mountbatten is actually from one of our Lost episodes that no longer exists. Yeah, but it's not public.
It's in the ether.
I would like to record the first season of Scandal Sheets and throw the architecture spin on it because there's some good stories in there. It's just, it doesn't have architecture. Anywho, 6 Degrees of Talullah Bankhead. So if you're not familiar with that, it is technically 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was what it started. Mm-hmm. It's essentially that the concept was that Kevin Bacon has vicariously acted with pretty much every actor in Hollywood, that you can kind of do the same thing.
He was on CBS Sunday Morning last week.
Oh, he was?
He's in a new show called City on a Hill about Boston. He plays a FBI, like a veteran of the FBI. Anyway, he's super charming, and I can't remember which one of the journalists was interviewing him, but he sort of come around, like when it first came out, he thought that 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was not offensive, but he was like, you've made me into a game, and it wasn't right. It wasn't complimentary.
Yeah.
But he's sort of come to embrace it because it also means, like, look at how you are connected to people in this world. So he's like kind of put a good spin on it.
Right.
Which is interesting, like how you find just random connections, whether it's, in where you live or like a half world away.
So in this case, the concept is that the subjects of our episodes are 6 or fewer degrees related to Tallulah, with Tallulah being 0.
That's funny.
She rented from Billy Haynes, so he's 1.
Yeah.
And Billy Haynes designed for Marion Davies, who is 2. And Marion Davies
with Hearst.
Right, was involved with Hearst, so that would make him 3. So,
pretty close.
Yeah. So within 6 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to start doing this, I think.
Can we connect that to Frank Lloyd Wright? Oh, we're only doing with Tallulah?
I mean, we can always.
Everything ends up at Frank Lloyd Wright.
Stanford White.
Or Stanford White.
Yeah, that we constantly come upon.
I like it.
Back in Hollywood, Tallulah's first film was Tarnished Lady. But unfortunately...
Which she was.
Yeah, well, yes. But unfortunately, her acting talents did not translate well to screen, which I think we discussed last time.
Yeah.
George Cukor reportedly said that she had, quote, dead eyes.
Yeah, dead eyes. Yeah. Vacant stare.
Right. So she ended up only making 4 films during this time, and that seemed to be fine with her because she wasn't really a fan of the process. And
I can't imagine she'd take direction well.
No, yeah, she never became a household name like a lot of the actresses were.
Yeah,
at the time.
But she was in London, right? Like she was a household.
Yeah, she was pretty much. Yeah,
she shouldn't have left.
Yeah, she was making $50,000 a movie though, so that would have been a lot of money. Back then.
Wow.
She really wasn't a big fan of Hollywood, apparently. When she met the famed producer Irving Thalberg, she asked him, quote, "How do you get laid in this dreadful place?"
Wow.
To which he responded, "I'm sure you'll have no problem. Ask anyone." So her sex drive was definitely alive and well. And as we discussed last week, Tallulah batted for both teams. Mm-hmm. She was quoted as saying, "I've tried several varieties of sex. The conventional position makes me claustrophobic, and the others give me either a stiff neck or lockjaw." Her sex drive even dictated her movie choices. She made a film in 1932 called Devil in the Deep with Gary Cooper, Cary Grant, and Charles Lawton.
Oh my gosh.
Who were all major heartthrob actors at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And in fact, later on in life, Tallulah reportedly said, "Darling, the main reason I accepted was to fuck that divine Gary Cooper."
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So
that's scandalous.
Overall, as I said, Tallulah really wasn't a success in Hollywood. And then to make matters worse, she ran afoul of the Motion Picture Production Code, which began to be rigorously enforced in 1934. And I think we've alluded to this.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is the
Motion Picture Code?
Yeah.
So it was developed by a devout Presbyterian named Will Hayes in the 1920s, and it was in response to several of the scandals that happened in Hollywood at that time, including the alleged rape of Virginia Rapp by Fatty Arbuckle, who we've also talked about.
Oh, gosh.
So the code forbade the following things from motion pictures. Number 1, pointed profanity by either title or lip. This includes the words God, Lord, Jesus, Christ, unless they were used reverently in connection with proper religious ceremonies, hell, damn, God, and every other profane and vulgar expression, however it may be spelled.